What is going on, everybody? My name is Conor Lawler. Welcome back to another week of Hero or Zero. This is the Heroes for Hire podcast. This is the show where we choose one comic book character every single week. We talk their good points and their bad points, and we generally just give you a bit of a rundown of everything to do with that character. I am joined, as always, by my best pal, Mr. Shaun Mead. Shaun, how's it going?
I'm good, Conor. I'm very much enjoying my lunch break from work today.
We're recording at lunchtime.
Yep, that's how you know. We're up to the minute reporting on Heroes for Hire.
I'm going to a concert tonight. I'm not
very
around,
good.
Shaun. I'm a busy man.
Yeah, I'm going to a concert tomorrow. I'm still cool, right, folks?
Okay. So, this is Hero or Zero, and I mean, before we get into it, we've done hundreds of these at all DC and Marvel characters, so if you're into comic books, go listen to some of them, or don't. It's fine. It's
Definitely don't listen to last week's one. It was insane.
So Shaun normally does Marvel characters, I normally do DC characters. It is my week, so what I've decided to do is choose a character that I don't know a lot of people will know of her. She's incredibly big in South America in the comics, but not so big maybe in mainstream stuff. Most well known, probably, she was in a few episodes of Justice League Unlimited back in 2004. So maybe you know her from that. I'm going to be talking about Shaun.
Not a clue.
Beatrice da Costa. Very cool looking character. Don't look it up, but I'm just going to tell you, Johnny Storm, green flames. Perfect.
Pretty good. It's pretty good.
So the creators were E. Nelson Bridwell and Ramona Fradon. First appearance was in DC Comics Presents number 46, June 1982. Now here is the main problem with this character, in that created in 1982, what happens in the mid-80s, Shaun, is the Crisis on Infinite Earths. And if you don't know what that is, and you're listening to this, basically it just means that every few years comic books decide, let's just blow up everything that's happening in this universe and we'll all start again.
Yeah, it's gotten too confusing and we've had too many writers. So let's get rid of all of that and just pick the best stuff.
There's always like 10 characters who've died and come back 7 times, and they're just like, okay, right, we need to kill off the ones we don't like and then we can start again. The New 52 a few years ago was a similar thing. It happens probably I would say every 15 to 20 years in comic books.
Yeah. And sometimes that's sped up. I know Marvel did a couple of them in quick succession in the early 90s. Well,
New 52 is now gone as well.
It's DC Rebirth now, isn't it?
Yes, Rebirth, yeah. They did it for like 8 years, I think, and then they got rid of that. So her background is rather convoluted because of the nature of her creation. Now, this is where it's going to get confusing. So she was created for the Super Friends franchise, which was popular in both print and on screen, the Super Friends TV show. Thus, she made the transition to comics, and her portrayal basically in comics was just what she was on the screen. More so.
Okay, but that's worked before. Like, you've gotten Harley Quinn and stuff out of that.
Oh, you're talking about the greatest show of all time, Batman the Animated Series. Sorry, I was talking about Super Friends in 1981.
Super Friends is... No, I can't bring myself to say it.
You're the same level.
On both peak versions.
Both Emmy winners. And so, compounding the fact was that shortly after her introduction to comics, DC decided to have a company-wide reboot following the events of Crisis on Infinite Earths. So she has 2 origins fairly close together within about 2 years of each other. Completely different origins.
Wow. That's because usually at least there's something carried over, but they just like wipe the slate clean.
Well, so I'm going to cover her first one, which in the initial version, her mother and her father are surveyors in the Amazon River Basin. She is born among a tribe of people known as the Gi as a result of this, and it's foretold by that ancient tribe that she would have great powers as determined by the sky spirit. Shaun, is this captured you?
I'm gripped already. Like, Spider-Man has nothing on this origin.
Although she's sceptical. At 15 years of age, she's contacted telepathically by the religious man and told of her powers. And after learning to use them, she starts her superhero career as the Green Flame.
Just like that. Is just magic.
She also then, her civilian identity, she became the head of the Brazilian branch of Wayne Enterprises. Let's not look into why that happens, how any of this happens. It just happens, right? So shut your fucking face.
I wasn't going to say anything at all.
That's the initial
you just
origin.
Came in really hard there.
they cut, and then they were like, that was a bad option. We had it. That was 18 months ago. We kind of goofed it. We'll redo it again. Why not?
Okay. That's fine. That's fine for a character. Who cares?
So
surely the next one will be better.
Well, actually, it's not worse. It couldn't certainly be worse. Following the Crisis on Infinite Earths, a new version of reality was created with a different history of events. And Beatriz Benilla da Costa was a human who grew up around the beaches of Rio. So, pretty good so far.
A great start in life.
As she was growing up, she looked to begin a modelling career, and she started as an amateur model on the beaches of Rio, then becoming a showgirl and a stage performer.
Okay, so she's killing it at the minute.
She's killing it. She's one of the biggest supermodels in all of Brazil at this point.
Then she gets hired for a job at a chemical factory. I'm calling it now.
Looking for a new job, though, Shaun. See, she gets bored, right? She gets bored of all of this fame and just this world that she's involved in. So she's like, I'm going to look for a new job. So she does some research on career prospects, and she came to believe that the one suitable for her was in the Brazilian espionage network.
It's not one you really apply for, though, is it? The espionage network.
The ENB, which I'm not even going to try and pronounce the Brazilian one. Hang on, maybe I might. Espiaos Nacionales de Brazil. So it's the espionage network of Brazil, basically.
Very good. Very good, Conor.
Just basically the FBI or MI6. But she's just applying. She just decides one day, I'm a supermodel, but now I've decided that being world famous won't hinder my spy dreams.
Very recognisable, I would say.
On a lot of billboards.
On a lot of marketing campaigns for major companies, most likely.
I would say that's the hardest transition from job to job.
Yeah, well, I mean, the other one is like serial killer to judge, but like
milk, someone who delivers milk, maybe an Amazon package delivery driver, to spy. Fine, but world famous on billboard's face to spy, difficult sell. But she has a dream, Shaun, so she decides that she's going to do it. And look and behold, she gets the gig and she becomes a spy.
Fucking game changer.
So she's a spy she has no powers currently, I must admit, but she's a spy and she's going about her days and just, doing spy missions. Shaun, I'm sure you can fill in the blank there.
I couldn't possibly, Conor. I couldn't talk about that kind of thing.
I can't talk about my work. I'm on my lunch break right now.
Do spies get a lunch break, do you think?
I don't know. As a spy, do you stop the espionage for maybe a toasty?
I think you're always on the job there. Like, you have to eat it undercover as well.
I think you have to do like the Tour de France lads and like bring gel that's food and just like squeeze it through a tube and then throw it in a bin and then just move on with the mission.
Then get a blood transfusion mid-race to up your chances.
Well, that would make you stronger. It would,
wouldn't it?
Well, the more people you kill, the more blood you have on hand. So you kill them and then you take their blood.
That's true. Mid-fight, you get a transfusion. You're turning the tides, folks.
You take their blood, they shoot you. They've shot themselves. Luckily, somehow you've won.
I heard a thing is like someone carries an inhaler just in case they're ever drawn into a fight. Just to get the extra airflow in.
Yeah. It's kind of like steroids. You're taking it just for that extra bit.
You're just operating at peak efficiency at that point.
So one day she had an assignment where she had to track down Menino do Diablo, who was the son of Dom Diablo. Shaun, you probably know them well. They're crime syndicates. There's Diablos. It's all sorts of stuff.
I couldn't possibly talk about my friends, the Diablos.
What lovely men. The man was responsible for stealing the agency's, Shaun, you're going to like this, pyroplasm's equipment.
Sounds promising.
Sounds promising, and was conducting dangerous experiments with this pyroplasm. That's, I assume, plasm made of fire. somehow.
Like
Don't ask
ectoplasm
questions.
from a ghost, but on fire.
Beatrice was then sent to Diablo's estate in the French Riviera, where she was to extradite him from the mansion on behalf of his father. She managed to reach his mansion. She breaks in. She confronts him, but he was focused on continuing his experiments to gain great power. And Shaun, you're not going to believe what's about to happen. When she breaks into his mansion, he's hell-bent on continuing his testing, his experiments. I mean, nothing. They all walk out completely fine.
Really? That's the end of that segment of the story?
No, there was an explosion, sorry. And that bombarded waves of pyroplasm energy into her.
Good. That's what we wanted as an origin for someone who's on fire all the time.
I want explosion with magical plasm. And that's how we get powers.
It could be purely scientific based plasma probably is the term.
Yeah.
Not plasm.
But I mean, what I want is an explosion in which maybe some molecules infiltrate skin, and then you ultimately have superpowers somehow.
Here's what I want to happen, right? I want you to be hit by a wave of some kind of weird energy. Yeah. Then the camera zooms in down to your DNA and it changes colour and goes on fire. That's what I want. And
then when you wake up, you're like, I feel fine. Like, I feel grand. And then you try and do something and your powers, like, just ignite.
And you don't know how to control it at all.
I don't know what's going on.
And at first it's a curse.
Is evil now somehow.
It's how it happens every time.
And so she gets her superpowers. And so, Shaun, that's her basically origin. So she gets Now, originally she's only able to produce fire through her mouth. So she's able to breathe fire.
Right.
Pretty good.
Could she breathe fire before? Like in her original origin?
No. Oh no, in her original she's I think she could produce fire and breathe fire, in her original, because she was magically enhanced by some sort of ancient god. I think pyroplasm works slightly better just due to the fact of explosion.
Yeah, it's just not believable enough to be real.
I want either a vat of chemicals, a lightning bolt, or an explosion. They're the only ones I'll accept.
Or a family member murdered in front of them.
Oh, perfect.
The only acceptable origins.
So during the late Silver Age and the events leading up to Crisis on Infinite Earths, Beatrice is mostly portrayed as a background character to give a story a more international feel, because remember, Brazilian. Right. She was notably on hand though during Crisis to defend her home country. The most important development for the character in history was not so much a creative one as but an editorial decision to change the Justice League into an international team for the not just America.
Very good. Yeah, because it was Justice League International is a whole department.
Exactly. So the creative team, instead of looking to fill its ranks with new characters, instead to chose pre-existing characters from all around the world. And of course, Brazil would be a big market in comic books, and they would buy a lot of comic books back then. So, I mean, let's put the Brazilian character in the comic book, and we'll put the UK character, and we'll put the Swede. So every country has somebody, and then they're like, oh, I'm going to buy those Justice League International comic books, because my character might be in it.
That's kind of cool, and you get all these different cultures meeting, like the standard DC heroes. Like, that's kind of neat. Is there an Irish superhero in DC?
Oh, probably, but I can't think of them right now.
That's fair. Ireland has Shamrock, as we all remember.
That is true. We have Shamrock. That's pretty good. And so yeah, they are all part of a Global Guardians team first, but ironically they lose their funding from the United Nations in the wake of the formation of the Justice League International team, because they are fancier.
Fuck. Right, so these guys have it handled, so we're just going to let them take over.
Yeah, and so her and her best friend, Beatrice and her best friend, Ice Maiden, basically they were best friends from the Guardian days. Exactly. And so they decide they want to join, to go from the Global Guardians to the Justice League International. And they basically approached the Justice League embassy and asked for a job. And remarkably, in the wake of Black Canary's resignation and the abduction of several members, the short-handed JLI took them on.
We will take anyone at this point.
So many people have been abducted.
Oh, you have powers. Oh, great. That's even better.
What do you do? Breathe fire. Fucking fantastic. Into the back of the line.
You're on the team.
Eventually, she once again changed her heroic name, this time just to Fire, in affinity with Ice Maiden's shortening of her own name to simply Ice. So it was Fire and Ice.
The duo together at last.
She served as actually the longest continuous term of any Justice League International member, which is a pretty cool stat.
Yeah, the others just presumably died or were kidnapped.
They were all abducted. If you're part of the team and you get abducted, are you still part of the team or are you abducted?
I think you're out of action at that point because they would assume the worst.
Yeah, I think you're probably like, you're on the website but you're greyed out. Your profile picture might be greyed out for the time being.
Yeah, you're on like a rotating like slideshow of all the currently
in
missing
memoriam.
members. Yeah.
What happened was, one of the most significant developments in the character's history occurred during an invasion crossover event. And what this was after being subjected to a gene bomb during the invasion, her powers go out of control, Shaun.
Nice.
And she falls into a coma.
I wonder what's going to happen to her, whether she'll change it all from the gene bomb.
When she comes out of the coma, she discovers that her powers have changed substantially, so that now she can become a being of pure fire. Basically Johnny Storm. So,
right. So she can turn it on and off as well. She's not always on fire.
Yes. So
Good.
Another issue which presented itself to her was control, as her powers would manifest themselves from her emotional responses, usually fear. In order to help this, Mr. Miracle and Big Barda were enlisted to teach her some control of her new powers. So basically, they try and teach her because they just overreact. Basically, anytime she's in a fight, immediately flames go on.
Right, okay.
You
like
can now look up an image of Fire. I will allow you because now you know
Fire.
how she got there.
DC. Oh, she's pretty cool. Yeah.
It's Green Fire.
Green Fire lady. Like, what's not to love?
As the team continued its mission to protect Earth, the largest threat they faced was when Doomsday came to Earth, intent on killing Superman. You might remember Death of Superman, Shaun.
Spoilers.
Doomsday, he's intent on killing Superman, and the Justice League International are the first ones to react, but they, in their own, and I don't want to stress this enough, they get absolutely fucked up by Doomsday. And then he eventually kills Superman, as well as numerous team members.
But Fire is still around, right?
She did try to help. Still counts.
Still counts, still a member. Really try to keep that membership active.
And so, unfortunately, Ice dies. This is a hindrance to Fire and Ice. So after the death of Ice, Fire gained a better degree of respect for Guy Gardner as she saw how much her death affected him. Shortly thereafter, another hero by the name of Ice Maiden appeared. This is comic book, beautiful stuff.
One-to-one switch out.
Ice dies. Ice Maiden shows back up. Fire's like, who's this Ice Maiden? I was best friends with Ice, the previous Ice Maiden. Almost like comic book writers are just making shit up. She had been a member of the Global Guardians before either of them had joined. And due to the sadness over her friend's death, this new member of the Justice League was not received warmly by Beatrice. But then she tries to take her on as a surrogate for her missing friend, a role which the new Ice Maiden didn't take to very easily.
So you're my friend now because my real friend is gone, but you'll do.
The new Ice Maiden would also soon die. And then the team would disband.
It's a tough universe to be an Ice Maiden, really, isn't it?
It's real bad. It's not a nice maiden, I'll tell you that. She subsequently returned. So once the team disbands, she returns to Brazil and she attempts to establish herself as the country's primary superhero. pretty good start.
A lot of ground to cover in Brazil.
This was met with various successes, but also not like it wasn't fantastic due to the fact that she blamed partly on the Martian Manhunter's visibility in the southern hemisphere.
What do you mean his visibility? Like his PR?
Yeah.
What the fuck? Like
the southern hemisphere are mad for Martian Manhunter, even though she's from Brazil and was like famous in Brazil and is now made of flames. But Martian Manhunter, I suppose, is pretty cool.
He's got most of the powers. He's weak to fire, weirdly enough.
That's about it, ironically.
Yeah.
So Fire had retired from superheroing to establish a career as an internet glamour girl when Maxwell Lord talked her and several other JLI members into reforming as a group of heroes for the common man called the Super Baddies. Sorry, the Super Buddies, not Super Baddies.
Super Baddies. The natural enemy of the Super
The natural enemy to the Super Buddies. Yes, of course. Which paid homage to both her time associated with the Super Friends and the early incarnation of the Justice League International. She found herself apartment sharing with Mary Marvel, and in a situation reminiscent of her former interactions with Ice, forced herself into a reluctant role of babysitter for the woefully naive teenager superhero. That is Mary Marvel. So Mary Marvel is just a bit young, Fire's looking after.
She's one of the Shazam kids, right?
Yes.
Cool. Good to know.
Good. When attempting to rescue... you're not going to like this, but there's a small story where she does attempt to rescue Ice's spirit from hell.
Keep going, I'm on board. I'm into this. Wait, why did Ice go directly to hell?
Yeah, it seems a bit ironic, but also, but why hell?
What? She's a superhero. What the fuck did she do?
She must have murdered a load of people. Fire accidentally looked back, causing the spirit to vanish. During the Super Buddies' time in hell...
That's the myth of Orpheus, is what they're copying there.
Etrigan the Demon suggested that, in fact, when Fire died, it wasn't meant to be Fire's death at all. When Ice died, it was meant to be Fire's death. So Ice, her best friend, died, but it was actually meant to be her death, and that was what suggested. I just wanted to bring that up because it adds a bit of drama to her going to hell.
A bit of tragedy, Connor.
Before, by the way, just to tell you how good the Super Buddies were, before their first mission, they're all kidnapped.
Good God. Some villain's just like, gonna nip this team in the bud, get rid of them straight away.
They're kidnapped by a villain called Roulette and taken to the house. There they are mind controlled to not do anything evil, but to not want to escape, which I think is a really cool mind control thing.
That is, yeah. That's like some kind. You know how like there's like ways to defeat superheroes. It's just like fucking like Wolverine. You have to just keep him in a state of near death because you can't actually kill him. That's a better one. It's just like make him not want to take part.
Like you don't want to escape. It's fine. You're trapped here, but you're not. Like it's grand. They call it the biggest version of Stockholm syndrome. It's the old classic. You're grand here. Don't worry about it. The subliminal messages they are given is in English, but since Fire thinks in Portuguese, she's able to break free and save the rest of the team.
Very bueno.
No. Very bueno. Muy bueno.
Muito, actually, in Portuguese.
She's muy en fuego, is what I would say.
In Spanish?
Yes, I would, but there's also Portuguese, I think. I don't know.
It's a slight difference between the language.
It's a slight difference. I'm not good. I can barely speak English. So, in the New 52, she's the new member of the Justice League International. But I like that story that she breaks all the team out because the rules are in English and she speaks Portuguese. Now, powers and abilities for Fire, Shaun. The original Green Fury, her original name.
That's such a better name.
Had magical flame breath powers due to Brazilian mysticism.
Don't we all?
She could control her flame breath to allow her to fly and land like a rocket. She was able to mystically alter her clothing and change the colour of her eyes from green to black and vice versa.
Right. So she could fly by just breathing fire underneath her.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool.
She was
very
also able
damaging to anyone underneath her, though.
Absolutely. You don't want like loved ones near you.
No.
She was also able to create and cast illusions with her dazzle power and fire blast with her white hot flame or super cold freezing flame. Not sure how that works. Her green flame had the magical ability to heal and repair her costume after a battle. Not sure how that works. And she was also trained by Batman in hand-to-hand combat. Was she? So,
would he have done that?
Due to the events of Crisis on Infinite Earths, Green Fury never had any of these magical powers and had a new revised origin. So, her only power in the new origin, gained from organic energy source called pyroplasm, was the ability to breathe a jet of green flame from her mouth. However, when the metagene bomb went off in the upper atmosphere, the new fire is now able to completely turn into a being of green plasma, in which form she can fly, throw devastating blasts, similar to the Human Torch. Solid objects could pass completely through her form without causing injury. And so all of Johnny Storm's powers and a few extra ones, because it's DC. Why not?
And it's green. She's green.
And it's
fire.
green. That makes it cooler. It did take her some time to come to terms with her increased powers, and she often flamed on involuntarily or when stressed or angry. And a distressingly common event for a character depicting as having a tendency towards passionate outbursts. I think that's just racism towards Brazilians and
possibly women.
Also sexist, definitely, but also racist, probably.
You're really playing a blinder, DC.
Good stuff. It was the 80s. A different time. The Super Buddies continuity established the fact also that flaming on destroyed all of her clothes, rendering her naked when she stopped using her powers.
You don't have to do that. You don't have to include that. It still wasn't cool then.
Still wasn't good. It was frowned upon then, but wrong now. She's also a skilled investigator, an espionage agent, apparently.
Yeah.
And in the latter context was considered a valuable asset by Amanda Waller for her ability and willingness to kill in order to complete missions.
Yeah, she will just straight up murder a guy.
Yeah, so she has pyroplasmic form, pyrokinesis. She can project green flames from any part of her body. Intangibility. She's got turbo blast. She's got flight. She's got hand-to-hand combat. And she's got investigation skills. So pretty good.
All pretty good across the board.
However, her one weakness is she needs air to stay aflame.
Oh, so she can't flame in space?
No.
Can't flame underwater?
No. That is true. So
flame in some kind of argon
box?
tube. What?
They're the only ways you can beat her.
But if she
put her in space, put her in the water, or maybe a box.
If she's in a box that has some oxygen in it, she can flame for a bit. Yeah. And then she's done for.
Yeah, then she's done for. Yeah. So I mean, an episode, maybe a comic book issue where she's in a coffin underground, not a lot of oxygen in that. She's got 10 minutes left. Then she has to decide whether she's going to risk flaming on to try and get out. But what if she can't? Oh man, it's a big horrific thing. Think of that movie with Ryan Reynolds. I think it's just the plot of that, but he has flame powers.
It's pretty good. I like that movie.
Pretty good. I think I've written a good one.
It's pretty alright. She sounds like a cool
That's
character.
My report on Fire, who are the Green Flame, if you want to call her that.
Green Fury.
Green Fury as well.
All of these are great names. It's better than fucking Ice or whatever the other one was. Ice Maiden. Conor, that was an excellent report. Would you like me to take us out?
Yeah, sure, why not?
Thank you everyone for listening to this episode of Hero or Zero. We will be back on Wednesday with Weird News. Next Friday we'll have another episode of Hero or Zero. And there'll be Patreon stuff coming soon in the form of a movie review. So do head on over there and check that out. Patreon.com/Heroes for Hire podcast is the link to the Patreon with all of our movie reviews. There's also a merch store, heroesforhire.ie/shop. Twitter is @HeroesForHirePod. The 4 is the number 4. Facebook is Detective Divilment's discussion group. Instagram is Heroes for Hire podcast. And the best way to ever help out the show is to tell one human being that we exist.
Just a one, please.
I think that's about it, Conor.
I think so. So I've been Conor Lorraine.
I've been Shaun Chuck.
I shall see you all next week, guys.
Bye.
Bye.